Hey guys, so I'm here tonight to do a quick book review for Painted Faces by L.H. Cosway. This book is set in Ireland, in Dublin specifically, and at the very beginning of the book we're introduced to the main female character named Frida, who comes home one day from work and she stumbles into her new next-door neighbor, a guy named Nicholas Turner. And Nicholas seems very sophisticated, very well put together, very handsome, very well spoken, and he tells Frida that he is an entertainer, and he invites her and her friends and her roommate to come see his opening night performance at this club, this new club in town. And as soon as they get to the club on opening night, Frida immediately realizes that it is in fact a gay bar, and lo and behold, when Nicholas walks out on stage, he comes out not as himself, but as his alter ego Vivica Blue, who is a cabaret drag queen. I think one of the most important scenes in this book is in fact that first scene in the club when Frida sees Nicholas as Vivica Blue for the first time. And I think it's important because what is important about the scene is her reaction to seeing him that way. Because of course initially she's shocked, but once the shock wears off after a few seconds, what does she feel after that? And it is undoubtedly excitement. She doesn't think that it's bizarre or it doesn't disgust her in any way. She thinks it's pretty damn cool that this guy is prancing around on stage and he's just, all she sees is his talent. She looks beyond the outfit and the painted face, as the title says, and the dress, and sees the talent, and she sees the man underneath everything, and she's drawn to him and she wants to get to know him. And I mean, at this point she doesn't know if he's straight, gay, bi, whatever. She doesn't care. She just wants to know more about him. And I think that was a brilliant way for this to be handled. And one of the many reasons why this is such a fantastic book. So to call this book a love story is pretty appropriate because it is a love story and it is the most unique and beautifully written, beautifully brought to life love story that I think I've ever read. I have said recently that The Fault in Our Stars by John Green was my favorite book of all time, but I think I have to amend that statement in that The Fault in Our Stars is my favorite YA book of all time, whereas Painted Faces by L.H. Cosway has now become my favorite adult book of all time. Have you ever read a book where within the first 20 or so pages you start to get like a little tingle on the back of your neck, where you just, something tells you that this book is going to be really special and it's going to be something that you never forget? And that happened while I was reading this book. It was one of those things where I was reading it and I couldn't get enough of it. I couldn't put it down, but at the same time I wanted to make the reading experience last. I wanted to try and make it last because I didn't want this book to end. I didn't want their story to be over. And it was so well done. There's so many different ways that it could have gone over the top. It could have been campy, it could have been silly or melodramatic, and she somehow managed to steer clear of all the pitfalls. As far as the characters go, Frida, I absolutely love her as a female lead. You know, I've had a lot of really bad luck with female characters in books lately, but she is fantastic. She is very relatable. There are many, many aspects of her personality that mirror my own, which I think is part of the reason why I could relate to her so well. And we have pretty much the same kind of insecurities and everything, and we have the same kind of sarcastic sense of humor, so I loved that. As far as the character of Nicholas, I loved how when he's Vivica, or Viv, he has a lot of sort of female, feminine tendencies and attributes, I guess, but as soon as he switches that off and he becomes Nicholas, he is a very manly, masculine man, and you totally buy both sides of his personality. You can totally see the difference between the two sides of him, but yet they go together so well and they make like just this amazing male character. But there's also a darker aspect to this story, which is the whole backstory of why Nicholas began dressing in women's clothes, which he began to do at a very early age, involving the death of his mother when he was 6 years old. And that whole aspect of what happened to him when he was a little boy is very dark, but it's handled in a really, really, really tasteful, very delicate way. The whole point of making this book review video is to hopefully inspire a few of you out there to check this book out, because I want to try and share the reading experience of this book with as many people as I can, because I honestly, this book is life altering for me. That might sound really over the top and melodramatic, but seriously, when I finished this book, I felt like a different person. I felt like a better person for having read Frida and Viv's story. And it's like almost a week after I finished reading this book, and I seriously cannot get into another book because I keep thinking about these characters. I keep thinking about this book. And that happens so very, very infrequently to me. That is the sign of a truly great, amazing reading experience. And that's sort of where I am right now. But I've never been so happy to have a book hangover in my life than I am because of this book, because it's just that good. And like I said, if I could just get a handful of you guys to go out there and get this book and read it and give it a chance, then I'd be a happy girl. Honestly, I don't know a single person in my everyday life that has even heard of this book, let alone read it. And it's really sad, because I would love to have somebody to talk to about it, because you know how you feel when you read an amazing book and you just want to talk about it. And unfortunately, I don't really have anybody to do that with this book. So help me out, you guys. Check this book out. Tell me what you think. Give me your opinion. And yeah, so Painted Faces. This book came out of nowhere and it slapped me upside the head in the best possible way. And it's just a fantastic, fantastic, beautiful book. And I am a huge fan of L.H. Cosway. I am in awe of her talent. She's just brilliant. I feel like such a better person for having gotten to know Fred and Viv, and the only bad thing I can say is that it ended, because I wish it could have gone on for about 500 more pages. It was that good.